Hi everyone, my name's Anna.
And I'm Maggie.
And today we will be explaining the importance of women in World War I and their roles. First of all,
Teacher, what's World War I?
Good question. World War I was the first war, otherwise known as the Great War. It was a war across all nations that originated in Europe. It started in 1914 and ended 4 years later in 1918.
But why did it start?
Another great question, Maggie. The four major causes were nationalism, imperialism, militarism, and alliances. But it all started with the assassination of the Archduke of Austria-Hungary in 1914.
Anyways, we are here to talk about women in World War I.
Women in America during World War I were, in general, very eager to show their patriotic support. They were proud and they wanted to show it. So, this led to women wanting to work in the war.
Before this war, women didn't usually have jobs besides taking care of children and housework. Men had all of the hard-working jobs like construction and militarism.
Not only did women want to show their support in the war, but they also kept on showing their need for equality in the workforce.
Yes, this was a major problem for women in World War I, equal pay.
Women did not get paid the same amount as men and weren't allowed to get a military rank in World War I.
Still, women wanted to be a part of and show their support in the war. As the war progressed, there were more jobs opportunities for them, and they had bigger roles too.
Let's talk about the different jobs women had in the war. Let's go to the thought bubble.
In the early 1900s, women didn't get much job opportunities, unlike men who had many working opportunities.
In World War I, over 20,000 Army and Navy nurses served in U.S. hospitals.
6,000 women had jobs contributing to the war like telephone operators, clerks, and typists.
Other women had jobs like Coast Guards, and they were always on active duty.
It was hard for the U.S. Army to accept women into the military service jobs. Although women were allowed to have jobs in the military, they received unequal pay and weren't allowed to have a military rank.
Let's talk about the effects of women working in the war.
When America entered the war, the number of women in the workforce increased a lot.
Yeah, and women now had jobs that were originally reserved for men, like
women working in the war changed their rights and opportunities in life.
Because women were taking on new roles in society, roles that were not meant for women, many different movements and groups were formed. The National American Woman Suffrage Association pushed for women's voting rights.
Yeah, before World War I, women didn't have the rights to vote.
Just like they didn't have good jobs or equal pay.
Before the war, women didn't really have any rights at all. They weren't allowed to vote, be in politics, etc.
But the war gave them a new opportunity, an opportunity to gain their independence and rights they deserved.
Here's an excerpt from a passage about a woman who lived during World War I, named Jane Addams.
On January 10, 1915, Addams and a woman suffrage leader, Carrie Chapman Catt, convened a group in Washington, D.C., which organized itself into the Women's Peace Party with Addams as chair. It called for the immediate end to fighting and argued for a new international order that included nationalization of the manufacture of armaments, democratic control of foreign policy, and women's suffrage. To develop the vital international element of the peace movement, in April 1915, Addams led an American delegation of women to The Hague of the International Congress of Women, composed of representatives from neutral and belligerent powers.
Anna, wow, Jane Addams sounded like a true fighter for women's rights.
Yeah, she definitely impacted the women's suffrage movement and women's rights in general.
And she definitely helped lead women in the right direction for gaining their rights.
Finally, in September 1918, the Senate passed the 19th Amendment that allowed women to vote.
This was a very important event in history, and it wouldn't have happened if it weren't for World War I.
Another thing that happened towards the end of the war, in spite of women, was that they were given military ranks.
Hey Anna, why was World War I so quick?
Gee Maggie, I have no idea.
Because they were Russian.
We hope you enjoyed the video and learned something about women in World War I.
The end.
Bye.